Search Zone 1062 to Home Base B. We found something. Something from the past. I don't know if it means much, but you might want to hear this. Over.
The following, written in the past, about the future, guided towards the present. Listen with your ears, your minds, and your heart. If you are reading this message, you are one of the last ones. You are among the chosen few who have made it past the many trials of the last few years. Perdition, maybe. Self-inflicted, entirely. There are many questions one might have pertaining to these recent events, and possibly the last place you would look for answers is a page randomly laying on the desk in an employee entrance of a long abandoned casino. You see, before the vaults went dry and the water dried up, and not in that order, there was a thriving business here. It was full of assholes and addicts, sweet old people, decorated veterans. There were people who came and worked here every day to maintain this status quo. This was life to us. Why do I mention this? Likely because this is the answers you are looking for. We lived, loved, fought, worked, cried. This was the past. And since there is no future, answer your own questions. All I can tell you is that this guard is almost done with his shift. 414A. Apparently, you have decided to continue reading. While I cannot shed too much light on the situation you are in now, I have a rare opportunity to shed light on the situation I am in. I am prepared to explain, in obviously the vaguest of detail, the events that have befallen our species. While the news was blaring wall-to-wall coverage of each disaster, I was here, stuck in limbo between future, past, and present tense. I will make a confused and disorganized chronology of the way that it all went wrong. The ways, the methods, the background, the intense boredom we all suffer. In an attempt to provide context, I write. If you are looking for answers, as stated before, look inward. This chronology is purely in limbo. I have no answers, save the context of the past. This is a beautiful opportunity to shed light on it. It is an even more beautiful opportunity to quell my boredom. Indeed, I am wasting your time. Thus, if this garners your attention, I recommend taking these pages to somewhere safe and secluded before reading it in entirety. If you are not interested, please leave these pages for the next passerby. I leave you with this for now. My shift has just started. And to make you jealous, there are lights, food, and water available. 414B. Here we are. There we were. Possibilities were set. They are always set. Set to a specific number of possible outcomes. How does that work? It is very simple when an outcome is inevitable. It is even simpler when there is no outcome to come to fruition. Explained further, there is no one left to affect change. Inertia? Once in motion, always in motion. There is nothing left to alter the course. The ball began to roll. Once the water ran out, the outcome was set. The events leading up to that were just as irreversible. They were just less noticeable. Certainly, running out of clean water is quite noticeable. Disease, dehydration, water skirmishes. I'm surprised you survived the first few days. In another life, I would like to hear your story. Anyways, water all around, but not enough to drink. The predecessor would certainly have been the grid going offline. What a shame. Inevitabilities can be so cruel, and Mad Max can be so prophetic. I'm still asking myself why they robbed and looted, as if they could stash away their goods, and when the saviors stepped in, they would have everything they wanted. It's a waste of time. We all know there are no saviors, just looters of a greater magnitude. I need to refresh the computer and log back in. A guest is coming down the hall. 4:15 a. Continuing. Where do I begin? Evil. And what is its nature? This is, without a doubt, another piece of the puzzle. Or it could be the confused ramblings of a bystander without enough knowledge of the intricacies of misappropriation, ineptitude, incompetence, and madness. In a court of law, these things do not constitute evil. The evil I speak of is a behind-the-scenes evil, a force that has guided the above into a relative perfect storm. Devil? Aliens? The boogeyman? What force has the power to, say, blind pigs as they run off a cliff? A particular Bible story comes to mind. Nevertheless, it is also evil to cast destruction onto future generations with relative disregard. But on oneself? This is simply a matter of timing, obviously. Set the bomb for 50 years. It explodes in your hands. The warnings were all there. Preparation was scattered. I assumed you had prepared in some way to make this forward. Perhaps you joined the evil that ensued as the legalities of subtle malfeasance disintegrated. That was the true evil. Man against man, against child, against brother. The blood is now shed, but does that mean the debt is paid? Perhaps a greater evil yet awaits, one from a just source. If God is there, he can no longer ignore this little rock. After all, this sounds quite like the ending of the Bible, does it not? 5:05 p.m. 4:15b. Contingency. What could have been done? What should you have done? And what can you do? What can you do is just that. Eat cans. Filter that water. Who knows how much bacteria there is from the sewage and dead bodies. The radiation and hazardous waste might be harder to filter out though. A good source is essential. Of course you know this. Or maybe you are already radioactive. What should you have done? Those cans would have been a good idea. A bunker, bullets, filters, flashlights, lockpick, precious metals for the first few days. But again, I'm sure you knew that or found out quickly. Oh, how I hope you are not a raider. See, the key is strategize, not brutalize. If I am still alive, rest assured, I have a few raiders on spikes at the front of my outpost. Now the searing question. What could have been done, of course, to prevent this? I mean, to prevent this entire mess. The answer is quite simple. It's a simple metaphor. If you are building a house of cards, would you put anything of importance on the top? How high would you feel comfortable building this house if your very life was at stake? And yet here we are, another journal entry and another beautiful night at this casino. 419. The survival instinct is a strong one, lowest in strength within the lap of opulence and luxury, however strongest in the dire hour of apocalyptic desperation. The attitude can shift from binge watching Netflix to rushing to the empty supermarkets to rushing out of the city into the wilderness. Priorities can change rather quickly, and Maslow's hierarchy of needs ensures a near complete dark age. Information has been sequestered into fried and powerless servers, burned books rotting in humidity. The Library of Alexandria has again been burned. I do hope these scribbles have survived, because if I have not, these are my effort to remain. Most of my life, like all others in the technological factory city, is stored on hard drives and now long outdated software. The service providers ensured it this way to satiate a monopolistic greed, complacency, lack of knowledge, lack of plan B, C, and D, and simple lust for comforts and simplicity. The simpleton was happy and satisfied by this leaning castle of lies. When the castle crumbled on top of them and the barbarian hordes attacked, there was no excuse. I am left excuseless as well. I do not try to effect change. I binge watch Netflix with survival food and bullets under my bed. 420. Corrupt politicians turned a blind eye. Perhaps proactively caused these circumstances. Mega corporations, central banks, unelected bureaucracies did the rest of the damage. Many of the elite hidden bunkers and underground military facilities. It begs the question of how they are faring. What is their plan? Will they emerge from the rubble and claim this broken wasteland? It is reasonable to assume they will run out of supplies. That would even the playing field quite a bit. I imagine the rich and powerful crawling out of a bunker with worn clothes and unshowered bodies, half starved. That puts a smile on my face. But maybe they did plan for this. As they set the fire, they well could have created an alternate future, one in which the phoenix rises from the ashes. Is there truly a plan to all this? We may not know for some time. It is reminiscent of Hitler escaping Berlin under siege. Where is the body? Our bodies line the streets. Do theirs line bunks in a military base? Do they monitor the surface for an opportune time to take control? Are the leaders of other nations conspiring as well? What is certain is that it is Saturday at this casino and the rush will soon come. 421A. Children of men. What role do children play? They are the future, but there is no future. Therefore, causality not accounted for, there are not many children left. The light of a tunnel exists not without the hope of reconstruction. Is there even a desire for reconstruction? In 2,000 years, would the cycle repeat? This is a question of learning. This is also a question of children. Are there enough left to carry on the mantle of humanity forward? Would they teach their children? Cyclically, empires fall, and only historians learn. After 2 generations, frantic warnings fade into statistics and bedtime stories. Children decisionless turn into adults that make bad decisions, selfish decisions. The children now are muddy and homeless, war-torn and wounded, poisoned, corrupted, sterilized. Children of men? Yes, but in reverse. The lack of children did not cause the chaos. The chaos caused the lack of children. Do we owe them better? Do they own this as much as we do? They are our progeny. There are choices. We chose to kill them in billions. Now, we choose to kill them to the point of extinction. As I watch them play and enjoy the benefits of civilization, I cannot help but think of what could be. I cannot help but remember what happened. But as we know from history, innocence is not immune from the plague. 1705 Eastern Standard Time. 421B. Survivalist, opportunist, elite, insider, prepper, rapist, dead. What do these categories have in common? The simple answer is that they are the essential building blocks that make up a post-apocalyptic individual. These categories are not exclusive. In fact, the opposite is true. Picture the movie 10 Cloverfield Lane. There are 2 preppers, 2 opportunists, 1 rapist, and 1 dead. 6 categories of individuals and only 3 characters. The simple fact is that there are many dead, few elites, few insiders, a marginal number of capable survivalists, many opportunists, and an unknown number of sadists. However, there are countless combinations and percentages of such combinations that make up the post-apocalyptic roster. There is an additional factor that can be thought of as a force multiplier. Simply the desperate, whether parent or starving, dying of thirst or low on supplies, detoxing from drugs or mortally wounded, terminally ill or grief-stricken insanity. These are the most lethal and poised. In essence, the dead have piled up and the colors have been revealed. At this point in time, the survivalist has disappeared into the wilderness. The opportunist is scavenging an abandoned town. The prepper is eating bars and MREs in a secluded location. The sadist has hopefully taken his last victim and died. The elite and insiders are running low on supplies and awaiting emergence day. And the dead are dead. Dead. They will lie with the countless others whose combination of characteristics and luck disallowed their continued existence. 22:02 Eastern Standard Time. 4:22. Is this a good thing? Is this an evil thing? Two polar opposite questions, and a lot of gray in between. Choices that have defined us, actions that have affected us, the demon on the shoulder and the angel growing quieter by the day. The conscience fades as the niceties and comfort fade. The goodwill fades during crisis. Does that mean that there was really no change in the heart of man, merely circumstance? If so, this condition in which we live and die has been in cosmic harmony. No right, no wrong, just choices. Where do we go from here? Morally, we choose, but choosing is reserved for those who have options and a forward gaze. Should we choose good? Should we choose evil? That is certainly an individual ultimatum. Heavy burden? No, little weight. This constant flippance and disregard have drove us to this point, and I see no use in changing at all. The universe will remain untouched, and the people will continue to die. The phoenix of the elite fascists may emerge. The wrath of God may commence. The past is over, gone, set. So is the future. It is a good thing, it is a bad thing. Truth be told, it is neither. This is my opinion. I'm just an unknown security guard at a casino. So don't take my word for it. In fact, why are you even reading this? This is the past. You're the future. Move on. End transmission. Fin.
That's all we got. I don't know what it means, but we should catalog it. This is one of the first coherent messages we found.